Howdy everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back and today we're going to be talking about one of the most, in my opinion, the most mysterious sim in the Sims series, because I wanted to do another video on one of these more, well, actually this dude's pretty well talked about, but he's very mysterious, and that is the sneaky sim from The Sims 1, the burglar pretty much, but he is referred to as a sneaky sim in the game, and he is just a really interesting character to me. I don't know, there's not much on him, but I wanted to cover him in this video and just do a whole video about him because I just find him to be such an intriguing character because there's so little information on this one man who robs an entire neighborhood, and it's just him. Like in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 and the other Sims games, they have multiple different burglars. But in The Sims 1, there is only one dude who robs the neighborhood. This one guy, and he's the master of stealing. It is crazy. This dude is unhinged. He just straight up casually walks into everybody's house and takes everything. This dude is unhinged, and I just find him to be an interesting character. I do wish we knew more about him, but I guess they weren't really thinking about that when creating the character because he's just kind of a dude. He just kind of steals your stuff. That's his entire role. But I just find him to be cool. I think he's a really cool character in The Sims 1. And, you know, he's very mysterious. So we're going to get some information about him and cover him. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alright, so just getting started with this character. In the game, he is referred to as some sneaky sim. Now, in the actual, base game, I'm talking base game, no expansion packs in The Sims 1, he doesn't actually have a name. He's just referred to as the burglar, but I can't remember which expansion pack added it, but where you can see the name tag on the sim when you hover the cursor over them. When you do that, it says some sneaky sim, so that was the name they gave him. And what makes him so iconic is his music. This dude, when he's robbing you, he has some of the most creepy, scary, freaky-ass music of any of the burglars in the Sims series. I think this is by far the scariest of the burglar sound effects in any of the Sims games. Now, the burglar in The Sims 1 is a pretty simple guy. Pretty much if you have any pretty expensive item, I've noticed when I play the game, whenever I have a computer, he usually comes in and tries to steal it. So usually he steals high-value items like computers and stuff like that. I believe there was a glitch where he might accidentally steal the baby. Because there's the baby in The Sims 1 is considered an object, so he might accidentally steal the baby. I'm not sure if that was patched, though, but I remember hearing about that. And that's one thing I find so funny about this guy, who I think just makes him way funnier than the other burglars. He will steal anything. How'd he fit that in the bag? He will steal the most random shit, and he will just run off with it.
Why are you running?
Now, usually he turns up at the house at night, usually around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or whatever. Usually he'll turn up. But I have seen cases where if all the Sims are asleep in the day, he might actually show up in daylight, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why I find that funny that he's just walking around in his burglar costume around town in daylight. I don't know, I just think that's funny. But yeah, unlike a lot of the other burglars in the other Sims games, this burglar, he's pretty chill when it comes to the police. When the cops turn up, he'll just kind of accept it. He'll kind of just put his hands up and accept being arrested. He does not seem that bothered about being apprehended. Probably because he gets let out, and then immediately goes back to stealing again. Now, presumably he does work for the criminal organization, the criminal career in the game, because when you get to a certain level in the criminal career, your career outfit will be the burglar costume. Well, part of it. It will be the shirt and the pants and stuff like that. So, you do kind of get to wear that burglar costume once you get to a certain level in the criminal career in The Sims 1. So, presumably, he works for some sort of criminal organization, and that's why he's stealing all this stuff. We don't know anything about this guy. He is just a mysterious dude, turns up, steals your stuff, fucks off, and that's his whole character. That is his whole character. He doesn't have a getaway vehicle. He just walks off, presumably back to the criminal warehouse or wherever they're operating out of in The Sims 1. And, yeah, obviously the scariest part about him, what made him so iconic, was not really his, look, really. I mean, I guess he's got a pretty iconic appearance. It's my favorite burglar appearance from any of the Sims games, but it's the fact of his music. his music is what makes him so iconic in The Sims 1. And, you know, every other burglar after this was kind of just like, especially in The Sims 2, it was just like a generic sim, and they weren't even wearing a mask in The Sims 2. In The Sims 2, you can just see their face. Like, Gordon King from Pleasant View is the most identifiable man ever. He is the dumbest burglar, because you can clearly identify him. Whereas in The Sims 1, the burglar wears a kind of goofy-looking mask. And another thing to note that I forgot to mention was the burglar does actually appear in other Sims games. Well, others, I mean one. And that is The Sims 1 on console, which is PS2 in the original Xbox. And he appears in this, and he pretty much looks exactly the same as he does on PC. And when you're creating your character in that game, if you take a little bit of time when creating the character, he will actually try and climb through the window to rob you, obviously, and he looks at your sim, who's just stood there, and he gets creeped out and backs away. This dude, I don't know what kind of magical powers this dude has, but, you know, he can fit all that stuff in his bag. He can, you know, get out of prison pretty quickly and just go back to robbing. And it's just kind of interesting because we never know about this dude. We don't know his name. We don't know what happens to him, because obviously he'd be pretty old in The Sims 2 if we're taking his age, which we don't really know his age. He just kind of appears as an adult male. But that's it. So we don't know what happens to him. Presumably he's probably dead by the events of The Sims 2. But I mean, hey, maybe he's like an old man stealing stuff. I don't know. I just find it cool that there's just this character who never, you know, we never find out anything about him. He's just there. He steals stuff. He runs out of the house. You know, he's strutting around the house while stealing stuff. And then he just runs out. And that's it. We know nothing about him.